have to meet with my practitioner. So if I didn't think that taking the herbs and the acupuncture and all that stuff was weird enough, the woman starts grabbing my arm. And she starts holding points. It's going to be hard to do this with a microphone. Holding points. I don't have 8 arms. Holding points on my body and testing the strength of my arm. This is called Applied Kinesiology or muscle testing. Has anyone ever heard of that? Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Okay, I used to give this lecture and no one had even heard of it in the room. So this is good. It's starting to change, which is wonderful. So basically, she's doing this and she's testing me and reprogramming physical and emotional conditions. And I'm thinking, this is insane. This is crazy, but it's working. Now, am I going to go tell everybody about it? I'm glad it's working for me. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go tell, yeah, really? Okay, she's nuts. Are you kidding? I'm not going to go talk about this. But ultimately, she starts doing this stuff, and if you see the little box there, that has to do with me and my progress at this point. Because for me, I was quite content in my little Western medicine box. I was happy there. Leave me alone. I want to practice where I am. I'm doing fine. I'm perfectly content. Well, now all of a sudden, it was bad enough that I had to peek out of that box with acupuncture, but now you're taking me to this. Now I'm so far out of the box, I'm in Milwaukee. You know, I have no idea that I'm so far out of this. So, what is this stuff? Well, what's fascinating to me is the applied kinesiology, and there are different ways of using it. There's a lot of people who muscle test, as it's called, and there are different ways of using it. Okay? This particular way that she was using it, how I use it, is in a form or a healing method called Total Body Modification. So what is that? Total Body Modification was invented by a chiropractor to save his wife's life. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But it's based on the theory that if you're muscle testing something, let's talk about a reflex. If there's a hot stove and I stick my finger on that hot stove, what's going to happen? That's a reflex. So from my finger, there's a nerve that travels up my spine, goes to the brain, tells the brain, that hurts, please stop. And then basically, another nerve goes back down, innervates the muscle, causes it to contract, and so I pull my finger away from that source. All right, so that's a reflex. This man named Viktor Frankl, who invented this, he was a chiropractor, and he also was a naturopath, and he had some familiarity with Oriental medicine or acupuncture. So he was studying at the time, when this happened in 1974, with the founding fathers of applied kinesiology, Goodard and some others. And what he didn't like about it was he didn't like that it was long and drawn out and took a long time to even get anywhere. And he didn't like that. Well, let's talk about chiropractors and how they look at the body. Chiropractors believe in structure. So structure of the spine, if we think we have the brain, we have the spinal cord that runs all the way down, and we have the nerves that go, central nervous system, which is the brain, then it goes out in the nerves that come out through and innervates. All those nerves that come out through the spine go into your skin, your organs, your muscles, everything. So their theory is if the spine isn't straight, what happens is the body has too much nervous intervention in one area and not enough in another. What does that sound like? It's like chi, right? So they straighten out the structure in order to get the free flow, and then the body turns on and heals itself. So that's their theory. Well, all of a sudden, Viktor Frankl's wife, in '74, has an ectopic pregnancy. Do we know what that is? That's a pregnancy that's in the tube instead of in the uterus, in the wrong place, basically. And if that bursts, it can kill you. Well, that happened, and they had to save her life, which they did, and they pumped her full of a bunch of antibiotics. You have to, otherwise you could get an infection. So they treat her. And then later on down the road, she ends up with leukemia. And Viktor Frankl's theory at that point was that a lot of antibiotics can lead to leukemia. For those of us in Western medicine, that's pretty far-fetched, okay, because I get where he's talking about, but anyway. He decides that his wife, who's a nurse, says, I'm not doing chemo. Now what's interesting is I'm not anti-chemo, but she said, I'm not doing that, that's a poison, I'm not going to do that. So he's sitting there studying with all these people and decides he's going to start playing around with this concept and see if he can save his wife's life. That's where all this came from. And lo and behold, he does this, and they both passed away in 2010. Okay. After, I think, almost 50 years of marriage, something like that. It's on my website too. But anyway, so he developed this. So what is this about? Well, he figured, what if we don't use needles? What if we can access, as a reflex, certain organs or places on the body? So if I touch this part of the body, and I test the muscle, I'm telling the body, hone in, and this happens to be the gallbladder point in Chinese medicine, one of the, along the gallbladder channel. And if I get a weak response, does that mean that you need to go get your gallbladder removed? No. What that means is that that organ isn't functioning to full capacity energetically, and that basically what we can do is reprogram the brain. His theory is everything is the brain. So, if we reprogram the brain, it will help the whole body send the proper signals and heal itself. So he started playing around with this, and there's a way of doing this. You take a deep breath, and what's so funny is you stimulate little points on the back. Down the spine, every bone of the spine, coincidentally, there's 2 acupuncture points. So he would stimulate that, hold the point, have the person take a deep breath, and then all of a sudden the point became strong. So he ran with that. And what's interesting, I don't have 3 hands, hang on just a second. So what he did was he mapped out a whole bunch of points on the body and ways to hold, ways to touch, ways to do different things. And lo and behold, this is where TBM was born. And there are all these different reflex points and all these different ways of holding them and all these different ways of stimulating the spine to do that, and it's completely non-invasive. Now, back when I was first getting introduced to this, I thought, this is too easy. Okay, really? So, at any rate, as we go through this, the body has an innate ability to heal itself, how that applied kinesiology works, and the stimulation of those certain points resets the brain to clear those blockages. All right. So now, as far as this goes, I'd like to do a little demonstration of this for you. We have such a large crowd, which is amazing. It's so great you guys are out here today. It might be easiest just to turn to the person next to you, can stand up, or sit down either way, and can somebody come up here and I'll show you this muscle testing. I want you guys to experience this. Would somebody mind coming up for me to do that? And I was like, yes, come on up. Okay, we've got 2 people at the same time, hang on. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Clayton. Hi, Clayton. Heather, nice to meet you. So as a way to demonstrate this, Clayton, what you can do is turn this way so they can see you. And then you can put your arms straight out. And then this arm down. Perfect. And I'm just going to try to push that arm down, so just don't let me do that. And it doesn't take a lot of force to feel that resistance. So say, my name is, and say your name.
My name is?
And your name?
Clayton.
Say my name is Clayton. Go ahead.
Thanks, my name is Clayton.
Good. Don't let me push that arm down.
Push that arm down.
You're good. You're good. You're so good. And then say, my name is Heather.
My name is Heather.
Feel that difference? You see that? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So what did that just prove to us? Okay, did you see that little movement there?
Yeah.
Okay, so for him, thank you, Clayton. That was so sweet of you to come up and do that. So that little response is the weak response. That some people, their arm drops. Well, why did it do that with him? His body knows his name isn't Heather. Okay, now unless unless he's wanted in 6 states and he doesn't know what his name is. But other than that, that's what this is about. The body knows. So we're looking for that difference. What I want you to do is pair up with somebody and practice that. Use your own name, saying my name is, and then do that with each other for about a minute. Have fun, guys. See if you can feel the difference. It doesn't matter left arm or right arm. Makes no difference. And once again, guys, it's really important. Anyone can power down somebody else's arm. Okay, so we're not looking for wrestling. We're just looking for a change. Very light touch. Can anyone feel that? You guys are fine. Isn't that amazing? It's really neat. Very good, guys. You're all set. I love it. I see. So how many of you could feel a difference?